yards per point, whatever. Yeah, I mean, the simple answer here is, unfortunately, Justin Fields. We have a Dallas defense that's going to be without Micah Parsons, without DeMarcus Lawrence, without their second cornerback. Trayvon Diggs was also on the injury report recently this week. He's going to play, but regardless, they are an extremely banged up secondary, or just team overall. Justin Fields is obviously playing really well, and Mahomes is just not the fantasy player that we want him to be at this point. Two parterre. You can throw me as many parts as you would like, Josh. Oh, that was all the way down there. Sorry. Let me go in order here. Sorry for all the cues. Last one, PPR. I feel like you literally only gave me one question. Last one, we have full PPR. We got Tracy, Kirk, Harris, or Akers. So I'm going to start off with a general sentiment around some of the probably popular questions that we're going to get this week, or some of the players that we're going to get a lot of questions about. Whether or not I'm just in or out on these players. Dontavian Wicks, very in. With Romeo Doubs out, with Christian Watson out, Dontavian Wicks, I think, needs to be a top 24 receiver for you, if not higher. I think his ceiling is incredible. Cam Akers, couldn't be more out. Could not be more out on him. He is a terrible running back right now. He is losing almost all the pass-catching work to Dare Angumbawale. I just couldn't be more out on starting him this week whatsoever. So we're not in on Akers. We are in on Dontavian Wicks. We're going to get a lot of Najee Harris questions. On paper, yeah, sure. The Najee Harris lineup matchup should be perfect this week, right? Again, we're getting a super banged-up Dallas team that already is terrible at stopping the run. So you got this perfect storm, but it's Najee Harris. He's been one of the least efficient backs in the NFL up to this point, which scares me, right? On paper, should go for 100 yards, should go for a touchdown. No Jalen Warren, no Cordell Patterson. They are using, I think, Jonathan Ward, who's actually had some good run in the NFL and is very, very limited sample size. But Najee should get every opportunity to be a player this week. When we're looking at this particular matchup or this particular question, you said you need just one. So you have Tyrone Tracy, who's going to play, for the most part, a very big role in that Giants offense because Devin Singletary's out. They're playing against Seattle. They are in Seattle, 7-point dogs. I think Seattle actually got a decent amount of their defenders back who missed last week's game. And that is a big upgrade to the defense, especially their run defense. I like Tracy in full PPR, though. So you said full PPR, which is a huge upgrade to him because I do think he will be the main pass catcher there. They're going to be trailing, so they're going to have to do a lot of dump-offs. You got no Malik Neighbors, so where all the targets are going to go, besides Wan'Dale Robinson, who should get about 75 targets, should be a good one for Tracy. Kirk, Harris, or Akers. I'm actually going to ride the hot hand here with Christian Kirk. We're talking about back-to-back really solid games, PPR games, touchdown games. I'm going to ride Christian Kirk. Tracy and Harris are close twos there, though. I got to turn the AC on. I'll be right back. How you doing? Ali said, would you trade away Monty for Olave? Half PPR. My backs are K9, Chase Brown, Sharbs, Ty Chandler. My wide receivers are CeeDee, Diggs, Waddle, Kirk, and Watson. Would you trade away Monty for Olave? This is a 2 wide receiver, 2 running back. No, I definitely wouldn't. You're way more stacked at wide receiver. They become far less valuable when it's half PPR, far less valuable when you're starting only 2 of them. So you have solid wide receiver options regardless, and I don't really think you have a confident running back too. So I'm definitely going to stick with Monty there over whoever your RB2 is. Spencer Walsh, half PPR league. I have Kenneth Walker, ETN, and Jerome Ford as my RBs. I was offered Brees for K-Dub and Bowers. I already have Garrett Wilson, and I have Kraft for my other tight end. Do I do the trade? I already have Garrett Wilson, and I have Tucker Kraft as my other tight end. I was offered Brees for K-Dub. I would not make that trade. As a Brees owner, if someone offered me Kenneth Walker and Brock Bowers, I would take that offer. So, no. Brees scares me a little bit right now. And I know people are like, oh, if people are panicking in your league. I don't think people that people that are not in New York right now, right? The thing about being in New York right now is our local games are the Jets games. We watch every snap in the office. We obviously got Red Zone on, but we watch every snap of every Jets game. There has been so little hope in that fucking offense. Rodgers' arm has looked good. That was like the big question mark coming in. I was like, cool. Everything else is in place. But Rodgers' arm, if he ain't the same, everything's going to sink. That's been the only fucking thing that's been working right now, okay? The offensive line has been abysmal. Breece Hall has been terrible. There's no explosion. He's getting no push behind the line of scrimmage. I'm worried about the offense overall. And they don't have like a staff, coaching staff, offensive coordinator that is progressive, that will develop as the team goes. Like Nathaniel Hackett is going to make things worse there, okay? So I don't imagine them like turning things around because he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, which makes the progress of this team extremely stalled. So I'm worried about Breece. I wouldn't take that. Let's see. Alex says, Trey Sermon, Jerome Ford, or Najee, full PPR. I actually don't hate Ford. Trey Sermon's definitely my 3 here. Sermon feels a lot like Akers, where he's getting like forced into a workhorse-ish role, but I still think Tyler Goodson's going to play a lot of the pass-catching downs here. I think we actually had a week last year where both Zach Moss and Jonathan Taylor were out. Was it week 15 against Pittsburgh last year? Let me just check this out real quick. Yeah, it was week 15 against Pittsburgh last year. Tyler Goodson actually went 11 for 69, caught 2 balls for 10 yards. Trey Sermon also got a lot of carries too, but just to give you an idea, he didn't catch a single ball. They split carries 17-11. So I don't think he's going to be a workhorse in this game. So I think you're hoping for something that's unlikely to be there. He could always score a touchdown, obviously, and kind of go for 60 yards and a touchdown and give you 12, 13 points, whatever. But I would rather shoot for a better floor upside combo. And I guess I ultimately lean Najee here with the other 2 Pittsburgh running backs out. Zay Flowers, Wicks, Higgins, and Worthy. Full PPR, you got to play 2. Zay Flowers is highest in your rankings, but I'm leaning towards benching him. Which 2 would you play? I would play Wicks and Higgins. I would agree with you there. The PPR rankings up on the site right now are Adam's rankings. So obviously we have a bunch of disagreements throughout, the rankings, which are minor, but that's why you get different perspectives. You can get his perspective. You can come in here if you're a Big Dog member, sign up on bdge.co. You get my perspective on Saturdays. We definitely haven't seen enough to start Worthy over these guys. Wicks with Dobbs and Watson out should be an absolute smash against the Rams. Higgins, I think he's going to play really well against Baltimore. Zay Flowers on the flip side also has a great matchup too against Cincy, but you'd imagine that their game plan is going to include 35 rush attempts again like they've been the last couple weeks, which is 15, 18, 21 pass attempts for Lamar. So I'm going to go Higgins and Wicks, though. If you want to go with Flowers there, I don't blame you, but Worthy is my clear 4 for show. Some kind of Codwallader. What the hell? Saturday Smoochies, I love that. Every fucking comment from now on, every question should actually start with Saturday Smoochies. Full PPR, let's start 1 running back and 2 flex. We've got Jerome Ford, Chase Brown, Braylon Allen, Christian Kirk, Michael Wilson, and Jacoby. I also have Xavier Legette, Jordan Whittington, and Trey Tucker's available on waivers. Those are some good fucking receivers. I would pick up – I like Legette and Whittington. I think ultimately I'd probably pick up Legette and drop Michael Wilson just for your lineup long term to see if he can play a bigger role down the second half of the year. That rookie upside explosion always happens second half. He's already in the lineup right now. So I would make that move off the rip. But in terms of starting a running back, I would lean Jerome Ford. I like the matchup. I do think that the Browns are – I know they've been saying this for like literally – Packers have placed Romeo Doubs on reserve suspended list for conduct detrimental to the team. What is he doing? What is that man doing? He's upset he's not getting enough targets. Brother, do you understand you have Jaden fucking Reed in front of you? Browns practice reports. Limited. Jack Conklin, 2 limiteds in a row. We have DeJuan Jones, 2 limiteds and a full. We have Jedrick Wills, 2 limiteds. All right, so we could, and then we also have their center, 2 limiteds in a row. So there's a possibility that we have 2, 3, or 4 of the Browns' offensive linemen back, which is obviously fucking massive for this team that cannot block a 6-year-old girl right now. So I'm going to go forward. I don't trust Chase Brown whatsoever yet. Like, I like that he had a good game. I'm happy about it if I have him on my team. But in terms of, like, putting him into my lineup right now, I got to pump the brakes. Braylon also hasn't really shown enough of a, like, floor-ceiling combination for me there. So ultimately we're going Jerome Ford, Christian Kirk, and then Jacoby Myers has a really tough matchup against probably a lot of Patrick Surtain. Dude, I got to be honest, man. As weird as it sounds, I think my favorite flex option that you have, I don't love Xavier Legette against the Chicago passing D. I think I like – okay, you know what I might do? I might actually take Jordan Whittington off the wire instead of Michael Wilson, and I think I would play Jordan Whittington as your second flex. I know that sounds spicy as fuck, but I feel really – I got a gut feeling. I got something inside me that tells me Jordan Whittington is going to have a nice day. Ollie says, likely Kmet's or Mark Andrews. I mean, this has got to be like the toughest question of all time. Oh, I really don't know what to do here. I will say I'm starting Mark Andrews over Isaiah Likely for sure if I'm deciding between those two, though I'm not confident in starting Mark Andrews over Cole Kmet. With Kmet, I feel good about a Bears offensive performance that will exceed expectations. The Panthers are going to be without – actually, I want to check their practice report again, but I'm pretty sure that the Panthers are going to be without a laundry list of their defenders, right? They were already obviously down Derek Brown, but they will be without Josie Jewell, Shaq Thompson. They will be without – I think there's a couple other players too. They're just down a lot of players on defense, which opens up the passing game a lot. I'm one of those dudes, like, I don't have Mark Andrews in any redraft leagues, but, like, I would be a sucker enough to just continue rolling him out because you know one of those 2-touchdown games is coming. But it's like, do you want to play Russian roulette? So, listen, this job is fucking impossible to predict if Mark Andrews is going to outscore Cole Kmet. I think my brain probably says Cole Kmet because I like the passing matchup, but I like the passing matchup for the Bengals against or the Ravens against the Broncos. Let's look at historic Mark Andrews against the Cincinnati Bengals and see what he's done, even though this defense for Cincinnati is as bad as it's been probably in forever. So we had the game that he got hurt last year in Week 11, so we won't count that. But Week 2 they played last year, 5 for 45 and a touchdown. Week 5 the year before, he went 8 for 89 and a touchdown. He also went 5 for 73 in the wild card game. Only played him once. He must have been out for the other game during that regular season. He typically plays him well. I'd probably go Mark Andrews if it's my team. I ain't going to lie to you. Alex says, I have Tracy on the bench. Would you start him over any of the following? Legette, Keon Coleman, Keenan Allen, Jerome Ford, PPR League. Yeah, I would start him over Legette or Keon Coleman. I think I would start him. I think I'd rather, I guess, Bills have a pretty good matchup with the Texans, and there is no Khalil Shakir, which opens things up for Keon. But I don't really think he's going to be that big of a beneficiary to Khalil being gone. So I think ultimately I'd probably start Tracy over Keon Coleman, Alex. I would keep Monty. Yes, sir. Thank you. No, you have a blessed motherfucking day. Javonte Williams or Chase Brown? Oh, God. I'm going to go Javonte. I'm going to go Javonte there. Need to start 2 between Wicks, Brian Thomas Jr., Xavier Worthy, and Amari Cooper. Also, what the fuck do I do with Bijan and Garrett Wilson? Currently 2-2 and lost Pacheco and Rice. God damn, rare yam. Yeah, I feel for the Chiefs drafters, man. You drafted well. Like the way Pacheco was playing off the rip, he was absolutely dynamite, and then Rice was a league changer type of pick. So you did your thing there in the draft. You just got fucked. So you need to start 2. The BTJ start is the tough one to tell you to sit, but I think I'm probably going to do that. Wicks is in my lineup. Xavier Worthy is sitting, and then it's very close between BTJ and Cooper. Now, on paper, Cooper feels like the play here. Feels like he's shown more upside. Feels like the better player at this point in their careers. Got the matchup against Washington, obviously, which is a fantastic matchup for receivers. Now, I did hear on a podcast somewhere that they play a ton of coverage in cover 2, I believe it was, which is typically the games Amari pops off in are single high safety coverages. This apparently is more catered towards a Jerry Jeudy game than a Amari Cooper game, even though I don't know if that's actually a thing. But I'll throw that out there, and I'll kind of let you make the decision. Wicks is in my lineup, and then Cooper and BTJ, I think, are both really solid starts. I'd personally lean Cooper, but wouldn't be mad at you if you went BTJ there. Two-parter from Mr. Joshi. I get down. Half PPR, we got 10 teams. Start 2, BTJ versus Colts, Deontay versus Bears, Pickens versus Dallas. Yeah, we're going to start the latter two. Even in a matchup versus Chicago, you quite literally cannot sit Deontay at this point. That would be psycho behavior with how good he's playing. And then George Pickens. I don't know if any of you guys are subscribed to Reception Perception, Matt Harmon's website, where he basically watches routes of a bunch of receivers and then he grades them, and then he shows you separation, success rate versus man, zone, press. He did about 8 or 10 in-season receivers, which is a pretty cool add-on that he hasn't – I don't think he's done that most years, but he just dropped a slate of them today. And George Pickens was one of them. And if there was one profile that he was like above and beyond wowed and like blown away with, it was Pickens. He said Pickens has developed into one of the most clear, elite, top-end route runners in the NFL. Like his success rate versus man and press is as good as anyone in the NFL right now, which was cool to see because I was, pretty on Pickens this offseason in terms of him developing and how well he's played as like a 21, 22-year-old. Third season. He's coming off an 1,100-yard season. Obviously, the stats aren't always there because of how this offense plays, but I think Fields is coming into his comfort zone. I think you look at Dallas and just how poor their defense has played. I'm excited about Pickens this week. Has it started yet? I don't know. Wicks or Wandell in a flex spot. Ooh. Okay. Well, I guess maybe I would say in a vacuum, I'd go Wicks here. I like him more as a player over Wandell. However, I would say because the Falcons-Tampa Bay game was so fucking high scoring, maybe something in your matchup might sway this. So if you're down big, like your opponent had Kirk or Mooney or London or something like that, I would swing for the fences in Wicks. If you had one of those players and you're just looking for a floor play, even though I think Wicks is probably a really nice floor, to be honest with you too, then I might lean Wandell. But for me, it's like 60-40 in favor of Wicks. 10-team PPR dynasty. Trade away a late first for Jonathan Brooks and also trade away Waddle and a third for BTJ. So in terms of the Brooks trade, I'd be perfectly fine with that. That's about where I was drafting Brooks to begin with. And now that we've seen this Carolina team play well with Dalton, their offensive line is playing well, Chuba Hubbard is playing well, it feels like you're buying for the same price, even though now we have confirmation that the situation is better. So I would be perfectly fine for a late first. I guess the one thing I would say is like if you're defining late first as a very broad term in a 10-team league, that could be maybe as early as like the 107. I might pump the brakes there. Like when I think of late first, obviously I'm thinking of 12 teams. I'm thinking of like the 110, 111, which is not going to be the case obviously here. If you're talking about the 109, 110, yeah, I'd be completely fine with that. He's going to be an absolute stud when he plays. And also trade away Waddle and a third for BTJ. Love BTJ, but honestly, I'd probably hold on to Waddle there. Kyler Fields, Geno, or Purdy, full PPR, one quarterback league, pick one. It would definitely be between Fields and Purdy for me. I think Seattle's just going to stomp New York and probably not need him. Kyler's been kind of bad outside of like one game. Purdy's been playing absolute lights out. They destroy the Cardinals every time they play. I'm going to go Purdy there. Cristiano. Half PPR. Flex 1. Deontay Johnson, Najee, DJ Moore, Christian Kirk, Rico Dowdle. Woo! You just need one flex here. Oh, God, you're killing me with this one. I'll tell you, I'm not playing Rico over these guys. Deontay has the toughest matchup, although he's probably the best fantasy asset. I think the Carolina Panthers passing offense overall, though, might struggle a bit. So I'm actually going to come down a little bit on Deontay. I actually, as weird as it sounds, kind of feel like the upside lies with DJ Moore. I think Najee has a good floor. I think Kirk has a good floor, good ceiling combo. If I had to rank it, I would probably say I guess it depends on your matchup too. Cristiano, this is like a fucking impossible question. Can you give me some context on your matchup right now? Was there anyone playing on Thursday night that would sway this a little bit? Half PPR, need 2 between Akers, Tracy, and Brown. Yeah, for me, it's not Akers ever. I would lean the other 2. Greggy Baby, need 1 running back and 2 flex. We got Jerome Ford, we got Kareem Hunt, we've got Wandell, Wicks, Akers, Tutu. This feels relatively straightforward. I'm definitely starting Jerome Ford over Kareem and Akers. And then you need 2 wide receivers, or 2 flexes, which are definitely going to be the wide receivers here. You guys know I'm very high on Wicks this week. Wandell versus Tutu is actually a pretty good one. Wandell's value obviously comes down pretty dramatically in non-full PPR scoring formats, where Tutu actually kind of takes an increased bump there because he's more of a deep playmaker. He's more of like a 4 for 80 type of dude, which is still about 10 points, even though for Wandell to have 10 points, he needs to go like 7 for 70. I don't want to overthink this, though. I'm going to go Wandell with Malik Neighbors out. So Ford, Wicks, Akers. Or Ford, Wicks, Wandell, sorry. Oh, we have so many questions. Holy fuck. I got to figure out a better way to streamline this thing. Would you trade away? Oh, wait. Did we already answered that one? Yeah, we already answered that one. Have PPR, I believe. Okay, maybe I'm just fucking falling behind and backwards now. I'm 1-3 in half PPR after losing Pacheco, Kupp, and Rice. Damn. My running backs are K-Dub and Monty. Wide receivers are MHJ, Devontae T. Kirk. Do I trade Monty and Devontae for Jordan Mason and Gibbs? Yeah, I'm super fine with that trade. I think there's a good chance that Mason ends up being a player for the next fucking 8 to 10 weeks. And then Gibbs, at this point with the whole Devontae debacle, like Devontae is almost like my least favorite piece in this entire trade. So, yeah, Ty, I would take Mason and Gibbs there for sure. Brian, I need 1 wide receiver and 1 flex in half PPR. BTJ, T. Higgins, Kareem Hunt, Dontavian, Wicks. Ooh, okay. BTJ and T. I'm telling so many people to play people over BTJ to the point where that's starting to make me a little bit nervous. But Wicks is my guy for show this week as the 1, and then you have T and BTJ. I kind of think there's a big game coming out of T also against Baltimore. Kincaid at Houston or Tucker Kraft versus LA in full PPR? Ooh, I love this question. Honestly, it feels like you're getting cute on paper, but I think that's a legitimate question. Although with Khalil Shakir out, I think that makes me want to play Kincaid a little bit more, even though I honestly don't hate Tucker Kraft as a flex play. Garrett Wilson or Jordan Addison in my flex PPR, of course. Straight up, dude, like, God, how do you sit Garrett Wilson? I genuinely think Jordan Addison's probably the better play. Greggy Baby, need 1 running back and 1 flex, half PPR. We got Stevenson, Dowdle, Keenan, Downs, and Lockett. 1 running back there. I mean, Stevenson apparently not starting, probably going to get relatively downgraded in playtime. Dowdle's playing against the Steelers, which is a tough matchup. I guess you got to roll Dowdle. He's the one that's the clear starter in his offense at this point. And then you need 1 flex, definitely not the running back position. You got Keenan in a really good matchup. You got Josh Downs, who it's looking like you're going to get Joe Flacco. So I'm going to go with Josh Downs there. Does Bo Melton have any value for deep leagues, half PPR? I don't really want to start him unless when you say deep leagues, you mean like 32 people. Melton's cool. Very small sample size. I would probably rather look at a million other options, though. Whole bench out, start Tracy, Slayton are likely. Definitely one of the Giants. I think Slayton could low-key have a big game, obviously, with Malik Neighbors out. He's going to be like the only deep passing option in that offense. And Seattle's probably going to score a lot of points. But ultimately, I'd lean with the floor of Tracy, I think. I can play 2 in full PPR. BTJ, Kareem Hunt, Jerome Ford, Dontavian Wicks, Najee. I would lean with the 2 receivers. At full PPR, I'd go Wicks and BTJ. Jackson says, PPR, I need a running back 2. I hear what you're saying about Najee, but still hard to trust. But I have Harris, Hunt, and Roschon Johnson. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely, I'm not sure if this is actually a question or just following up on on something I was talking about before. But Harris would be my number 1 there. What up, big dog? Half PPR since Dobbs is listed as doubtful. I need to pick up a wide receiver. Sutton, Keenan, Keon, or Tutu. Wow, those guys are all available on your waiver. Sutton's low-key been kind of fucking good. He's getting like 30% of the targets there. It's against the Raiders. You never really want to invest into Bo Nix and that Denver offense. And I'm going to steer you away from that. I think I'd actually play Tutu here. I think I'd go 2-2, very tight Sutton on the secondary. I need a running back. Who could I move Adams for? Dude, I don't know. The Adams vibes are bad. I wonder if you could move Adams for David Montgomery. I would shoot for one of those veterans. I would shoot for like Demont, Brian Robinson, James Conner, like someone who's not, maybe even Josh Jacobs if someone doesn't like him. Shoot for that tier and see if you can close something. Because you're not going to get above that. I've got Pacheco, AJB, and Rice out. Gibbs on bye. Need 2 flex. Joe, you forgot to... Okay, you followed it up. I have need to start 2 flex. You got Jennings. Who is Jennings? Jawan Jennings, Kraft, Adunze, Lazard, and Dowdle. Okay. I kind of like Jawan Jennings if Kittle's out. I kind of like Kraft too. You didn't give me if it was full PPR or not. Adunze's got a really good matchup, of course, against the Panthers. I will go with the 2 wide receivers. Or, sorry, that's a dumb fucking way to put it with Lazard in there. I will go with Jennings and Adunze. Pick 2, full PPR. We have Kirk, Amari Cooper, or Deontay Johnson. I think I'm going to ride with the second 2. I think I'm going to ride with Johnson and Amari Cooper. Am I absolutely crazy for starting Wicks over Ayuk this week? Full PPR. Also thoughts on Sermon versus Tracy. I like Tracy over Sermon. That's just a personal preference. I could see why you might like Sermon. I could see why you might like attaching yourself to the Colts run game as opposed to the Giants. I'm a huge fan of Tracy, though, and I think he offers real PPR upside that Sermon does not offer you. He was a wide receiver in college. If you guys are not familiar with Tyrone Tracy's game, he's a wide receiver for 4 years. Switched over running back, broke the fuck out at Purdue. So he has a 3-down skill set. Really like Tracy. I feel like this game might put him on the map. Am I absolutely crazy for starting Wicks over? No, I really don't think you are. At this point, like, you can't be ranking Ayuk as a top 12 guy anymore, although the matchup is so good. The matchup's really good for Wicks too. So, yeah, I don't think it's crazy at all. Dynasty trade offer. Took over for a guy and team is not great. Full PPR and Superflex. Got offered Eckler, Tua, Lockett, and a second for Goff. Rest of my Q. Are you serious? That guy offered you all that just for Goff? So he's trying to move off of Tua. I personally, dude, I would capitalize on the Tua hysteria. I think Tua is going to be back this year. I would if I had to bet on it and I had to go 51-49 one way or another, like I would take Tua over Goff just flat out. So for him to throw Eckler, Lockett, which I guess could be just roster cloggers for you, but you could probably switch. You could probably flip Eckler and Lockett for another second if you're in like a full rebuild right now. So yeah, I would take the Tua side for sure. All right, let's try to rip through a bunch of these questions. Cristiano, I think you asked me this one, and then I followed up for more context. Have Pacheco. Okay, I am moving down. Mr. Influence, he says, full PPR. Pick 2 wide receivers and 1 flex. Pickens, DJ Moore, McLaurin, Christian Kirk, Ayuk, Jerome Ford. So we have to pick 2 wide receivers. I will pick Pickens, McLaurin, and actually, I take that back. Even though the Commanders are red hot, I am going to start Pickens, DJ Moore, and Ayuk. Influence. I trade Jamar and Moss for MHA and Monty, Devontae for Pacheco. Did I fleece both of these trades? I'm not sure what trading for Pacheco does for you right now. Trading Jamar and Moss for I think that top one's fair. I would probably take your side, but I don't think it's a fleece because I have way more confidence in the Cincinnati passing game than I do in the Arizona passing game right now. But obviously you want Monty over Moss. So Jay Sutt, I need a wide receiver 2 and a flex. Full PPR, DJ Moore, Amari Cooper, Jerome Ford, Christian Kirk, Tyreek Hill. Yeah, so the thing about Tyreek Hill is he's really, really difficult to play right now. And against the Patriots, he's going to see Christian Gonzalez, and they got Skylar Thompson at quarterback and Stain. It's not great. So, with that said, we're actually going to sit Tyreek Hill. We're also going to sit Jerome Ford. We are going to play DJ Moore and Amari Cooper. Hi. Pick 5. That's insane. Pick 5. Pick 5 full PPR. We got Pickens, Shaheed, BTJ, Wandell, Downs, Michael Wilson, and Justice Hill. So we're going to get the bottom 2 right out of the way. I wonder if that just leaves us with 5. Pickens, for sure. I like Shaheed. I like BTJ. We love Wandell. Yeah, I'm going to just go with those first 5 off the rip. We're going to sit Michael Wilson and Justice Hill. Monty for Bijan. Am I crazy for hesitating if I'm 1 and 3? No, I mean, you're not crazy because Bijan's been playing like fucking shit. But if you can get Bijan for Monty, yeah, I would make that swap. Our schedule gets really, really good later. And by we, I mean the Falcons. What up, Johnny? Christian Kirk or Josh Downs, Joe Flacco at quarterback, full PPR. Yeah, I love Josh Downs. I don't know that I would go as far as to play him over Kirk right now. Jaguars are favored to win the game. Kirk's been good, so I'd probably lean Kirk there. Half PPR plus 0.5 for every rushing first down. Okay. Tyrone Tracy at Seattle or Roshan Johnstein versus Carolina? Well, if last week was any indicator, it's that Roshan Johnstein going to take a back seat. So I'm going Tracy there. Full PPR, Higgins or Pittman? I think you got to roll Pittman at this point with Flacco in. Half PPR, DJ Moore or Higgins? I will settle at T, Higgins, for this one. Cristiano, my brother. Can you give me some more context on this one, please? If you have anything going on in your matchup. I see you wrote it like 46 times. Full PPR, flex, JSN, or Addison? Ooh, I sneaky kind of like JSN this week. Even though they're big favorites and he's been inconsistent. Like, the matchup is so good. Addison was just dynamite last week, though. And if you just you got to imagine Sauce is going to play all over Justin Jefferson. So I think you got to go Addison here. Full PPR, 10-team league, start Steven Stain or Zach Moss, and start Addison, Worthy, or Keenan. If you just heard my last sentiment, yeah, I think you gotta ride Addison right now. Pause. Start Stevenson or Zach Moss. If this is my team, I hate the matchup, but I would start Zach Moss over Stevenson. I think I answered that one. Full PPR, pick 2, Sermon, Waddle, Addison. Ugh. I'd still go with the 2 receivers there in full PPR. Start 2, half PPR, 10-team, Pickens versus Dallas. Did I answer these ones already? Homies, just, and I'm not yelling at you, Josh. You just happen to be the question that I put up on here, and you might not have even done this. But please put your question one time. I will get to everybody's question, but if you put it more than once, then by the time I get to like the second or third, after like 15 other questions, I genuinely forget whether or not I answered that question already because we get so many of the same names just kind of getting asked over and over again. So please be nice. Start 2, half PPR, 10-team, Pickens versus Dallas, BTJ versus Colts, or Deontay versus Bears. Like, did I answer this? I can't remember if I answered this or not. I like Pickens a lot. It's so hard to sit Deontay right now, though. Unfortunately, I need to drop Braylon Allen to pick up tight end this week with Laporte on bye. That is fucking gross. So you got Pat Freiermuth, who got a little hot. He's got the Cowboys this week. You got Noah Fant, Seattle versus the Giants, who I'm less cool on. And then you got the Rams playing the Packers. Parkinson kind of feels like he just gives you no upside at all, even though Pat feels the same way a little bit. Parkinson just gets all these line of scrimmage screens. They ask him to block a lot because their offensive line is hurt. Ultimately, I'd probably lean Freiermuth here. Start 2, full PPR. Jerome Ford, Josh Downs, Dontavian Wicks. More often than not, you're almost always going to find me leaning with the receivers in full PPR, and that's what I'm going to do here. Half PPR flex 1, Tank Dell, Kareem Hunt, Raheem Mostert, Evan Ingram, and Mike Williams. I think you got to go with Tank here. I think you just got to ride the matchup. I think Buffalo's going to put a lot of attention on Nico and Diggs, and this could be a good game for Tank. 10-team, full PPR. We got A.J. Brown on bye, Rashee Rice hurt. We got Jefferson, McLaurin, Shaheed on my roster. Do I drop Braylon Allen and pick up Dontavian Wicks? And then who then starts at my 2 wide receiver spots in 1 flex? You got to drop Braylon Allen? That's fucking brutal. You don't have anyone else to drop? Yeah, I mean, Wicks feels like a must-start this week for me, even though I guess he's someone that you have to own. Like, even if you don't start him right away, because I'm looking at your team. I would start him over Shaheed, actually, now that I'm looking at it. Yeah, I would start him over Shaheed. I'd pick him up. Yeah, he feels like he can give you more immediate play time and upside right now. Whereas I don't know, because they also get the Cardinals next week, which is another cake matchup. So, slightly considering Kraft over McBride at tight end. Crazy move. It feels a little OD for me. I tried to grab Tucker Kraft in my big week, in my big in the big league here in the office, and I missed out on that fab bid. I got outbid by like $10, and I was gonna start him over Kyle Pitts. Luckily, I ended up having to start Kyle Pitts. He grabbed me a 16 piece. How you doing? But that's where my mindset was at. Kraft over Pitts. I wouldn't start him over McBride though. That feels a little too spicy for me. Oh my goodness. Full PPR. Trade Pickens and Christian Kirk for Aaron Jones. My running backs are Breece, Hubbard, Ford, Hunt, Dowdle. My wide receivers, Pickens, DJ Moore, McLaurin, Ayuk, Christian Kirk. Could also attempt to get Cook. So we're looking at trading Pickens and Christian Kirk. Nah, I think that's too much for me. I really like Pickens second half of the year. Aaron Jones, here's the thing with these veteran backs. Like, I think most people are hesitant to take them in drafts because when you're 30, 31, 32, your likelihood of breaking down at some point is higher. And the more games you play, the higher that risk is. Like, most of these guys, the James Connors, the Aaron Joneses, are kind of popping off right now because it's the beginning of the year. Of course, they're healthy right now. So I'm still a little bit, like, concerned about Aaron Jones' health long term. So I could also attempt to get Cook. I'd probably feel more comfortable with Cook than I would Jones. Can't take another week of donut from Andrews, Cometa, Kraft. I'm thinking of dropping Keenan for Ladd after this week. There is also Jacoby, Tucker, Whittington, Leggett, and Tutu on the wire. Yeah, that's a really solid wire. I would definitely go Ladd there, though. Full PPR, I need 1 wide receiver, 1 flex, and 1 tight end. We got Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks, Brandon Ayuk. Jaden Reed every week must start. You need 1 wide receiver, 1 flex, and 1 tight end. Jake Ferguson and Tucker Kraft. That's a good one. I'm going to start Jake Ferguson. I think with Brandon Cooks out, his only 2 real targets for Dak are CD and Ferguson. So Ferguson's the tight end for me. Jaden Reed's the wide receiver 1 for me. And then you need a flex between Dontavian Wicks and Brandon Ayuk. Here, I'll probably go Brandon Ayuk just to split the difference there a little bit. Holy shit. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to all these questions. I thought this shit was supposed to be private. How the fuck y'all got 500 questions out of 26 people? Full PPR. Bonuses. +5 for 100 rushing yards, 200 receiving yards, +2 for 20 carries, 6 point per passing touchdown. Holy fuck. I have Rice, AJB, and Pacheco out. Starting Dak, Mason, Connor, Terry, Nico, Ferg. Ford, help me trade for London. I mean, you'll have A.J. Brown back next week, and then you'll just be able to fucking start Nico, A.J. Brown, and Terry. I don't know why you need to trade for London. I kind of feel like your lineup is really solid right now. I think in order to trade for London, you're either going to have to do a 1-for-1 where you give up AJB and Nico, and to me that doesn't really make sense, or you're going to have to take out depth from like your running back 2 spot, which you don't have another running back, it doesn't sound like. And like I wouldn't, in a bonus league where it's 100 rushing yards is 5 points, that feels like Mason or Connor, like one of them gets that every week. So I don't know that there's anything here on paper that makes me feel like I would want to do that. Like the only combination that would make sense where you would win would be like Terry and Ford together, but there's just no way that the London owner is going to make that move. Do you think a package of Worthy plus McBride can net me any top 5 wide receiver? Fucking absolutely not. If I have like Jamar Chase or Amon-Ra St. Brown, there's not a chance that I'm giving them up for this package. Trade that was offered. I get DJ Moore, Tony Pollard, Sam Darnold, 4. I get DJ Moore, Tony Pollard, Sam Darnold, 4 Pickens, Mixon, and Dell. Would you take it? My team, quarterback is Dalton. Running backs are Akers and Chase Brown. Ooh, that's brutal. And my wide receivers are Higgins, A.J. Brown, and Olave and Judy. Oh, I guess that doesn't count the ones that you have in the offer. So if you keep Pickens, you have Higgins, A.J. Brown, Olave, and Pickens. That's a really good receiver core. I don't know how many you could start out of those. If it's start 3 wide receivers and you got a flex and you could put all them in there, that feels pretty good. I mean, at this point, like I would rather have Pickens than DJ Moore. You've held out long enough to the point where you'll probably get Mixon back next week. I don't want to promise anything, but I don't know. It doesn't really feel like you're upgrading anywhere, to be honest with you. I think I'd rather have Pickens and Mixon side. Half PPR, I'm down Puka and traded Garrett Wilson for Amari and Dontavian. Yeah, I like that move for you. They better fucking blow up this week. They got the matchups to do it. My opponent played Bucky and is dealing with injuries to key players, so I'm projected to win for now. Okay, there we go. We finally got some context behind Cristiano and his fucking 78 times posted question. Yeah, at that point, then you just kind of really need a floor, which I think is fine. I think you can go with Deontay or Najee. I don't really have such a preference there. Najee should get 15 touches minimum. Deontay should probably back his way into some garbage time targets. So I'm cool with either of them. I think ultimately in your position, you should probably maybe lean Najee there then, even though he's the fucking cone. Jalen Tolbert or Chase Brown, full PPR. Let's go Chase Brown there. Try to trade Kyler in a smaller piece for Love. Yeah, I don't hate the upgrade. Jacob said, would it be nuts to start? Is that you in your picture? Because that shit's fucking nuts if it is. Would it be nuts to start Josh Downs over Tyreek Hill? It's spicy. It's definitely spicy. I don't know. I wouldn't personally do it, but like I'd really respect you for doing it. Full PPR, I need 4. Wicks, Tyreek, BTJ, JSN, Swift, Jawan, Najee, Addison. Holy motherfucker. I'm going Wicks. I'm going BTJ. I'm going Addison. And I'm going to go... Fuck it. I mean, you can't not have Tyreek in your top 4. I'm going to go with those 4. Tyreek is the 4th. Pick Tua up in my league for trade bait. He is a free agent. Yeah, I mean, if I'm assuming it's a 1-quarterback league because no one would drop him to super flex. If so, I mean, I don't know how much trade bait quarterback really becomes. We done. Start off week with Bijan. So do I go for risky upside with Ayuk in flex or safe play floor and Wandale or Kirk? I would play Ayuk over them regardless of where your matchup is. The matchup's too good for Ayuk and the Niners. Pick 2, full PPR. Christian Kirk, Moss, Ford, Javonte, Sermon. I will go with Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk and Jerome Ford there. Is Swift legit, or is he going to return to his first week 3 form? Here I could see. I mean, it's a really good matchup, obviously, so he can get a lot of work again. I could see Roshan getting back into the picture in a more heavily mannered way. Kind of felt like they just rode the hot hand there. Like you see Swift get a couple carries and he breaks off like 3 to 4 huge plays. You kind of just ride that out. So I kind of think that's what happened, and we won't see. I think we're more likely to see what we saw the first 3 weeks than what we saw last week. Full PPR, start 1 running back, 2 wide receivers, and a flex. So we need 1 running back between Chuba and Najee. That's a really good question. Right now, I just, like, regardless of matchup, and Chuba is playing so much better ball than Najee, so I'm going to go there. You need 2 wide receivers between McLaurin, Garrett Wilson, and Ayuk. Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to sit Najee. He has not showed me fucking anything this year, so I'm just going to sit Najee and start all the receivers as flex plays and wide receivers. Would you drop Mostert for Brooks thinking long term? Yeah, definitely. I would much rather have Brooks over Mostert. Trying to trade for Tank Dell and redraft. I could probably do Josh Downs and Keon Coleman for him, but I don't know who I like straight up more between Downs and Tank. Yeah, I mean, Downs and Tank are probably pretty similar for me. I think I'd rather attach myself to Tank and just the CJ Stroud offense. So if you want to go 1 for 1, I'm fine with that. Tank Dell feels like you should be able to buy him like super low. So giving up 2 players, maybe not, but I don't hate that side for you if you got Tank there. Picked up Sermon because I lost JT. Sermon or Roshan for RB2, 12-point PPR. Yeah, I'd probably go Sermon just because I'd rather be in the Colts offense. Andrew said, full PPR. Trade Ayuk and Ford for Dobbins, Waddle. Nah, I'd keep the Ayuk side there. Well, just saw McBride downgraded to questionable. Really? That just happened? What the hell? Trey McBride, late week additions to the injury report equals high risk of missing games. Yeah, that's weird. Well, now you get to play your guy, I guess. Mr. Influence, half PPR, Pacheco and Rice owner. Want to keep them both just in case. Have to drop 2 players due to buys. Drop Bucky, Adunze, Kareem Hunt, Mostert. Or let go of Pacheco or Rice. Hate to ask this. Yeah, I wouldn't let go of the Chiefs players. I'm super fine dropping Mostert at this point. And then if I had to drop another one, I wouldn't drop Bucky. I don't really want to drop Adunze or Kareem Hunt. I think you kind of got to see what Kareem Hunt does for you this week. Like, if you drop Kareem Hunt and then he becomes the RB1 there, you're going to be kicking yourself. Whereas Adunze, yeah, I'd probably prefer dropping Adunze and Mostert there. Although I will say with Hunt, I think the Chiefs have their bye next week maybe. So it's like by that time, does something happen in this game, and then by week 7, Clyde is back? It gets a little messy. I'd probably still drop Rome, though. The homie. Full PPR, 3 flex. Should I start Jordan Mason? How the fuck you even asking that question? Kirk, Scary Terry, Kareem, Adunze, Deontay, or Tucker Kraft. I have McBride starting at tight end already. So it sounds like McBride, good chance of being out. So you're going to put Tucker Kraft in tight end. Yeah, Jordan Mason, obviously a flex. You got Scary Terry playing really well. I'm going to throw him as flex number 2. And then you've got a tight one between Deontay and Christian Kirk. Kirk obviously has the matchup, but Deontay's been a lot better of a player right now. Yeah, I'll try not to overthink it. I'll just go Deontay there. Jordan Mason, Scary Terry, Deontay. Maybe a show topic suggestion. Are you all planning a show for trade targets for the playoffs, guys? The easy. Ooh, okay. Put that in the noggin. Dynasty half PPR. We got London and a 25 third, or Pickens and a 25 second. Ooh, that's a really interesting one. I would probably take London there, the London side. That's Javon Holland in my. Really? What the fuck is Javon Holland doing there? Much love, Nicholas. Have a great weekend. Nah, you too. You too, buddy. Full PPR, start 3. We got Kirk, Amari. Man, it feels like it's the same names over and over again. Y'all, I guess you guys have the same problems. Also, if A-Rich is out, do I pick up Watson, T-Law, or Flacco for the stack? Wicks, Amari, and Downs. If A-Rich is out, which I am expecting him to be, I don't think you could trust T-Law at this point. Playing against the Bears D. Yeah, I think I would go Downs over Kirk and then stack it with, I guess you have 2 options of stacking. You have the Browns, and you could stack Watson, Cooper versus Commanders. Yeah, I can't believe I'm telling you to start him, but yeah, I would start Watson there. A-Rich downgraded to doubtful. Yeah, he's probably not going to play. Darnold or Wicks at super flex in full PPR. Yeah, still Darnold. He's red hot. He's like the QB3. Full PPR, 12-team, 4-0. I'm happy for you. Got offered Wandale and Pitts for Ford and Ferg. Should I take? Nah. They're kind of lateral to me there, Ford and Wandale, and then I would take Ferg over Pitts rest of the season. Cody, half PPR, Dynasty Flex. Play Jawan Jennings versus Arizona or Jalen Tolbert on primetime against Pittsburgh. I'm going Jawan there. It's always Jawan, baby. It's always the GOAT. And you know what? You know what I say one more time? Y'all are the GOAT for hanging around this long with me. If you did, make sure that you hit the button that looks like this. Hopefully I helped you out and didn't give you absolutely the worst sit-start decisions of all time. But if you want to join next week's Q and Assault where you could ask me your sit-starts, sign up to be a Big Dog member, bdge.co. Or the cheapest way is simply going to underdogfantasy.com, downloading the app, using code BDGE, depositing $10 or more. That'll get you the Big Dog membership absolutely free for the rest of the season, all the way through the fantasy playoffs, all right? You'll get our rankings. You'll get our waiver wire rankings. You'll get access to the Q and Assaults. That is all I have for y'all today. So thank you for hanging out. Week 5. I will see y'all on Monday for the recap.